Welcome back to MVM. Today I am bringing you a preview of the game Glory from Hogg Publishing. Glory is a competitive game from 1 to 4 players that is kind of a sandbox RPG played out as a board game. This is a kind of entry-level gateway game. It is designed to be played with families, with new gamers that aren't part of the hobby. This is something that you can bring to a game day with your family and kind of get them into heavier games when maybe all they're used to are games like, Sorry or Monopoly and things like that. And if you look here on the board, I've already got the game set up. Setup is very easy. You're going to follow basically this rule sheet, which is a nice, sturdy piece of cardstock actually, and you have all the rules in the game printed on it. So the game isn't necessarily complicated, but the strategy of the game unfolds on the decisions you're going to make every turn. So if you take a look here, I've got the board set up. All 4 characters are going to start in the city, and these are represented by standees currently. Now, this game is going to Kickstarter, so I can't speak to what the final version of this game is going to look like, but this is a prototype you're looking at here, all prototype components, so just keep that in mind. But all the figures are going to start here in the middle of the board, which is the city, and you're going to see all the paths available for movement spread out. You're also going to see on the 4 edges of the boards, quests. These quests are just going to be randomly assigned and tucked in under the board, hidden from all the players, so you don't know what your quests are going to be at the start of the game. In addition, you're going to add these layers to the 4 corners of the board. These layers are monsters that you can go and fight that are very powerful, but also worth a lot of victory points. In addition, you're going to hand out a player board to every player. There are 4 different characters included with the version I have here. Every player board has starting equipment, some have special abilities. This entire thing is kind of a whiteboard surface, so you can make note of how much experience you're gaining, what your current health is, and you can even use it to take notes on the back, because there are things that you're going to want to keep track of in this game. You can do so on your player board without anybody really noticing. So once all of this has been passed out, you're going to deal starting equipment. Every character has their own set of starting equipment they're going to begin the game with. You create this goods row. You set aside the rest of the components, the battle cards, flare cards, and ability cards. Set those aside for now, and you're actually ready to begin the game. Like I said, this is a sandbox kind of really light RPG style game. So you're moving around this board, you're buying goods to power up your character, you're gaining experience, which will get you new abilities, fighting monsters, buying items, resting in certain places to heal from all the damage, with the ultimate goal of being the first to earn 20 glory, which are the victory points in the game. The first player to earn that 20 glory is going to win, and there are a variety of ways to earn glory. The main ways are going to be completing quests and going to clear out the layers, but you can also encounter monsters along the way that you're going to combat. So the game is played over not a set amount of rounds, but it's going to keep going on until somebody hits that 20 point marker. Now, like I said earlier, the rules to the game are fairly simple. You're basically rolling a die, moving around the board, and taking the action of the space that you land on. Now, you roll the die, you move that many spaces, but you can mitigate the number of spaces you move by taking damage. So you can actually change the number of spaces to get to where you want to go by making that sacrifice and mitigating that die roll. In addition, you're going to notice a lot of branching paths. So really, no matter what die you roll, you can end up somewhere where you want to go. If you reach a lair, a town, or the castle in the center, you stop your movement and you could do the action there. So you don't have to make an exact roll. You're not going to be sitting there, oh man, I needed a 4. So you'll stop right when you get there and you'll do the action. Each one of these spaces has its own action that happens. Now you'll notice some of the spaces are just blank. Those just are spaces you move through. But if you stop on a question mark, you're going to draw a fate card. Now, These fate cards are incredibly random, which is why I said this game is kind of a light game. It's not one you want to take too seriously, because these fate cards are going to do everything from give you an extra turn, to skipping your turn, to giving you free items, to messing with other players at the table. I mean, they are just going to cascade a bunch of different random things will happen. So you want to try to collect them because they could really help you. Sometimes you're going to be forced to end your turn on a fate spot to get to where you want to go next turn, in which case you're subject to the whims of fate there, whatever the fate card you draw. You'll see again a couple shields that indicate combat. Now, there is a huge deck of cards that you could possibly battle here, and each one of these is a different monster. Now, you'll recognize the classic like fantasy style artwork on these cards. So every monster has a few things, and I'll throw one up on the screen here, but you'll see the name of the monster, its combat ability, which strike is how well it can hit you, power is how much damage it does, and health is how much damage it can take before it dies. Now, each one of these monsters is worth a different amount of glory, so fighting the tougher monsters is actually going to gain you more glory and push you towards that in-game condition. However, each one of these monsters also has a victory point limit, meaning if you've already received that many victory points, for example, if you're already at 15 glory, some of these monsters just won't fight you. So don't think that you can get really high, really powerful, and then go pick up a bunch of really easy monsters to win. You're going to have to start fighting bigger monsters or go to those layers. So that's what happens in a battle spot. Combat is pretty easy. Every character has a strike rating, and every monster has a strike rating. You're going to take your die, roll it, add your strike rating plus anything that might be added on from your abilities. So you might have cards that you've bought at the market or from wherever that give you bonuses. Some characters have abilities built into their character sheet that give them bonuses, but basically you're going to add all that together. That's your strike. If you beat the monster, you deal damage to the monster. The monster deals damage back to you if it beats you. So if there's a tie, nothing happens. It's kind of random, but like I said, this is kind of an entry-level game. So there are ways to mitigate that die roll if you want to hunt down weapons and armor and things like that that are going to increase your ability to win those fights. But if you win a fight, you gain the victory points, the monster's discarded, and you can move on. The last thing you're going to see are these havens, which are the trees. Those are basically campsites. When you rest there, you can heal health back. There are a lot of ways to take damage in this game and only really a few ways to get them back. You can rest at one of these health spots or you can visit the castle. If you ever drop down to 0 health, you're eliminated from the game. So you want to be careful to manage that health value and not go into too many risky fights right off the bat, because you can get knocked out of this game pretty easily. Looking around the other board, rest of the board, you're going to see a few other things. The towns, which I talked about earlier, are going to give you quests. And these quest cards are hidden information. You're going to draw one, look at it, see what the quest does. For example, this says, return here with 7 fate cards. So I tuck this back in. Maybe I make a note on the back of my player board, but now I know I need to go out, collect 7 fate cards, come back, then I can show everybody, oh, I completed this quest by the way. The first person to complete the quest gets 2 glory and 2 gold. The next person to complete it gets 1 glory and 1 gold, and then that's it. It's removed from the game. No one else can complete it. So the first person to go there that completes it, now everyone knows, oh, well, I already have 7 fate cards. Maybe I can rush over there and finish that fight. Layers are the same way. They are very powerful monsters. If you go there, you get to pull out the layer card, look at it. For example, this is the Goblin King. And then I get to decide if I want to fight it or not by looking at its statistics and its abilities. I might decide I'm not ready for that fight, tuck it back in, and I just basically pass my turn. There are other ways. You can go to havens. When you camp out the night, you also get to look at those layer cards. So you get a good idea of what's coming when you go there. Once you defeat that monster, you're going to get all those victory points, and then that card is going to be removed from the game. So those are the actions you're going to do on your turn. Play is going to continue with each character moving across the crossed paths here, taking the actions of the spaces they land on, and so on until someone reaches 20 victory points. Now, victory points are also like experience points if you're familiar with standard role-playing games. Every time you collect your 5th victory point or glory, you're able to level up and draw a card from this ability deck. Now, these cards can have a huge benefit to your character, and you could get up to 4 of these before the end of the game. So you're going to want to try to strategize around these ability cards. Certain ability cards are going to let you move better, give you better combat, make you more able to purchase goods from the market and things like that. There's a huge variety. I mean, you see this giant stack of ability cards. There are a ton of cards in general in this game, so you're not going to see the same set of monsters and quests and layers every single time you play the game, because you are pulling out from the pool. And like I just said, play is going to continue just in that clockwise order, with everyone moving and taking an action until one player hits the in-game trigger of 20 victory points, thus ending the game. They're crowned the most glorious, and then you can tear it down and reset for the next game. So everyone that is glory, thanks for taking a look at the video. Go take a look at the Kickstarter page, see all the goodies they have in store. I'm sure there's going to be more than what you see right here in front of you, but you'll have to check out the page to find out. Come back, ask questions, leave comments. Anything you need to know, I'll try to answer for you. And as always, thank you for watching us here at Man vs. Meeple, and have a great day.